Good morning. Today for Tuesday's trainer's tip, I'm going to feed off of what we started last week when we were talking about using spurs on our horses a little bit for the first times. And I'm going to kind of show you from what we worked on the ground before. Now we're going to just add it to when we're up on her back. So once again, we're not going to use our spurs for going faster, to make them go fast. The impulsion comes from the back of our horse. And so if I want to speed her up, I'm going to drive her from the back somehow, whether I can do it with my seat or if I need to spank her with something on the back to get her to speed up. So my spurs, once again, are for lateral movement and for vertical movement to add height to my strides or to lift her back up. So the reason the spur comes in handy is that we sometimes need to pinpoint a particular spot. So if I'm going to work the hindquarter, for instance, first, I don't want to confuse that with working the shoulder or working the rib cage. I want to go hind first, so I'm going to drop my foot back just a little bit, and I will put some pressure on there first before I add the spur in. If she doesn't feel me, I'll turn the toe out and I'll push on her with a spur, and you notice right there she pretty much just moved her hindquarter. I'm going to do the same on this other side over here, and we'll move her back to the left. So I'm going to put my foot back here. I'm going to ask, and this time she feels it. I didn't have to add in the spur, and you notice she moved that hindquarter over. Okay, I'm going to make her move a couple more steps here. So if, just in case you didn't see that, see how she basically keeps the front in one spot and moves that hindquarter around. Okay, now some of the most important parts about this are that I'm not going to keep that spur on her and hold her until she makes like a complete circle. What I'm going to do is as soon as she starts to move, I'm going to release. And then she starts to move, I'm going to release. And then I'll push her a little bit. She starts to move, I release. Starts to move, I release. She starts to move, I release. Starts to move, I release. Pretty soon, she starts to hunt that on her own. She wants to find that spot. So I don't have to hold her in that position. If I'm using my spur or my leg to hold her all the time, I'm going to create a dull horse, and I don't want her to be dull. So first, I'm always going to ask with the leg, and then if she doesn't respond, I can turn my toe out a little bit and push a little bit with the spur. Push and release, push and release, push and release, push and release, push and release to get that part. Okay, so now we got that hindquarter moving a little bit. Now maybe I want to work the front end just a little bit. So I'm going to move my spur forward some and apply it kind of underneath me in the girth area here. And I'm going to ask her to move that front end across a little bit. So I'll push with my leg first. If she doesn't feel it, I'll push with the spur. As soon as she starts to move, I release. As soon as she starts to move, I release. As soon as she starts to move, I release. Okay? As soon as she starts to move, I release. Pretty soon I make a horse that's really soft and she's hunting that spot over there. All right. The last case, what I'll do with those spurs, well, not the last thing I'll do, but for today is if I want to move the rib cage over, I'm going to push in this middle here and release. Push in the middle till she starts to move and release. Pretty soon she starts hunting that sideways motion and getting those ribs away from my leg. So I can put that all together at some point here when I'm working like in a circle. I can move the hindquarter, I can move the ribs over a little bit, then I can move the front over. So I can keep her in whatever position I want to. And basically I'm always asking her to move back up under me. That's her job, is to always move underneath me. So I'm using those spurs like that. And then lastly, and this horse isn't that broke yet to do this, but we're going to use our spurs to get some vertical flexion. And there I squeezed her with both legs, and you can see she kind of bends in the pole a little bit, and she's starting to bring her backbone up underneath me some. And that's because I just hold her a little with my hands and drive with my legs and get her to round up a little bit. So we're using our spurs for lateral movement, and we're using them for elevation. So that's Tuesday's trainer's tip. I hope you have a great week.